Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video here today, what I'm going to be talking about is the M1 Finance application. It's a really great brokerage that you can be using to utilize your investments. And a lot of you that are checking out this video know me from my Robinhood tutorials, but trust me, M1 Finance is such a solid application. I do believe that they are giving Robinhood a run for their money in terms of best application to use in terms of investing. Whether you're a beginner, someone who's been investing for a long time, there are some great features that you can take advantage of within M1 Finance. And I'm going to cover all of that in this video here today. So stick around to the very end. All right, guys, so right off the bat, I want to talk a little bit about the features and why M1 Finance is such a great platform for beginning investors. So you should be seeing it on the screen right now. And one of the best features I think that anybody can utilize with this platform, let's say you're just getting into the market, or maybe you've even been investing for a while, but you don't know and you're not really comfortable selecting your own stocks. Well, that is really great because you can invest in what is known as expert pies. Now, let me just break down what pies are and what slices are before I jump into that. When you are looking at M1 Finance, you invest in different pies. Now, pies are breakdowns of companies. So, for example, this is my EV and energy pie. Within the pie, there are slices that make up this pie. So if I click into this, these are the different companies within that pie. And you can see the weight is kind of in the middle. So basically what happens is in my EV and energy pie, I have slices of Tesla, which makes up 50% of that. Then I have Enphase Energy, which is 20%, NEO 15%, and so on and so forth. So it breaks down. Basically, if I put $100 into this, $50 would go into Tesla, $20 would go into Enphase, 15 to NEO, and then so on and so forth from there. So it's really easy, hands off. You basically structure out your percentages when you're first starting, and then as you're investing, as you're putting money in, it automatically distributes, it disperses how you want it into the breakdown of your portfolio. So I'll talk more about that in a little bit here, but what I want to talk about is why I think this is one of the absolute best investment platforms for new investors or people who have been investing for a while. You can actually invest in what is known as expert pies, which are created by experts. So you don't have to necessarily do as much research as you normally would because the people who are structuring these pies have a little bit of that knowledge into the market. So obviously you're going to want to do your own research when you're investing in stocks and investing in companies in general. This is just another really great breakdown, and a lot of these are pretty safe. So if you go to the research tab, what you do is then click on the little tab icons in the top left-hand side, and then you go into expert pies. So in here, you can look at a bunch of different pies. You can see there's general investing, plan for retirement, responsible investing, income earners, hedge funds, just stocks and bonds, and other strategies. So let's say you're just a general investor, you're just hopping in, you don't really have a retirement, you don't want to do your retirement on this application. Well, you can click on the general investing tab, and then you can choose what type of investor you are, whether you're ultra conservative or you go all the way up to ultra aggressive. You can click anything in between. So for example, if we did the aggressive portfolio, we look at this, you can see the holdings right in here and the expenses, the dividend yield, the risk. You can see with aggressive is a medium risk. It talks about everything within here. And then in the top, there's details and targets. So if you click on the targets, this is the breakdown of this specific expert pie that's been created. So essentially this expert pie is consists of a bunch of different ETFs. Now within ETFs, they have a number of different stocks that they're investing in. And one of my favorites that's actually in this portfolio is VOO. They are an S&P 500 ETF that basically traces how the market does. And over the duration of a year on the stock market, funds like this return anywhere from 6 to 10% pretty consistently. Now, obviously that's over the long haul, so there'll be some years that it doesn't do as well, and it could also go negative, but over the long haul, consistently, this is going to return you between 6 and 10% per year on the stock market, which is really nice. So that's why I love ETFs. What ETFs do for you is they offer diversification. You don't need to worry about selecting the individual stocks that go into the ETFs because it's all pretty much factored into it. So if you're just getting started out investing, I think Expert Pies is a really simple and easy way to lean yourself into the market, start making some money, get more familiar with how it works, become more comfortable. So that was aggressive. Then obviously there's ultra aggressive, and you can look at what they have in here too. And I highly suggest that if you are investing in any of these, you just make sure you understand what's in the ETFs, how expense ratios work. And the expense ratio on these, if I click back, going to ultra aggressive here, 0.05% is next to nothing. And you don't need to worry about setting aside money to pay for that. It's baked into the price of the ETF. So it's really, really simple in that aspect. If you go back out, again, other pies that are in here, you can plan for retirement. Let's say you click on this, you want to retire in 2055. You can see the 2055 options are conservative, moderate, aggressive, and those are the three that you can do for your retirement accounts. If you click into them, it's going to show you a breakdown of what they are. Again, I'm looking at the aggressive here, same screen that I showed you before. But basically, if you wanted to invest in these pies, that is the best way that you can do it. You can just jump right into here, look for the ones that suit you as an investor. So if you look back here, you can see things like income earners, which will pay dividends. If you go into global dividends here, you can tell that the dividend yield on this is 2.87%. You got your targets in here that talks about the different ETFs, the breakdowns of what dividend companies you'd be investing into. So that's just a little cool section. And then you can go in, other strategies. There is a lot of different things that you can find within these Expert Pies. And I think that, again, if you're just starting out, you don't want to put in the time, you don't want to put in the effort of researching individual stocks. Expert Pies, man, that's what I would do. I think it's a very solid option. So that's the coolest thing about this application, is actually creating those pies. And if you guys are wondering, oh man, that's super cool, I want to create my own pies, I want to put my own funds within those, well, you can do that yourself as well. So if you click on the research tab again and you go into my pies, in the top right hand corner, you can actually create your own pie. So if I create this, I'm going to click plus, and then you can start building your pie. And then in here, you can search for stocks that you want to have. So let's say, for example, we were looking at fintech companies. So you wanted to invest in Square, maybe. You just hit the plus icon on the right hand side. Let's say you wanted to invest in, PayPal. You could do PayPal here, and you can put like as many as you want into each pie. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna add Apple as well. They're right there. And again, if you guys wanted to learn more information on any one of these, as you're searching for them here, you can click into them. So for example, this is Apple. It's going to tell you the market cap, the PE ratio, the dividend they offer, if they do offer a dividend. And just know that not every single company out there on the stock market does actually offer a dividend. You're going to get relevant news, so you can click into the news articles here. If you click in, it's going to take you right over to that article. It'll give you some information that you want to learn. It's just a cool little way to do some of that research, understand why the value of the stock might be going up or down, or what's going on in the news. Then you got the price history here. You can see the returns over the past year, 2 years, 5 years. And again, it gives you that 52-week range. It's not like a ton of information. It's really easy to break down. It's really easy to navigate around this application if you're ever lost. And then you can go into the profile, which basically is a company overview of it. It has their website, what they are, like a stock, a bond, ETF. They have what markets they're listed in, who the CEO is, the number of employees, the number of shares there are, and the earnings per share most recently. So it's really great stuff there. Again, now that these 3 slices have been added to that new pie that I've created, I'm going to click done. And basically, this is it right here. So you can see the name of it right now is create a new pie, and you can change that name, so don't worry about that. But what's really cool is you actually structure the breakdown of this portfolio. So let's say, hey, you think PayPal is by far out of these the absolute best. You want 90% of the money you put into your portfolio to go to PayPal. And then you're like, all right, these are equal weight. Let's give them both 5%. You can do that. You can really structure this however you want. So let's say PayPal, you're a little bit less, inclined on. You're still pretty confident. You like PayPal more than the other stocks. You can put it at anywhere, between 0 to 100%. Let's say you went 50% here, and the other ones you are about equal on. You think that they're both going to do okay. You can go 25 and 25. So it's just highly customizable in that sense, and it's really, really cool. Just keep in mind, it has to add up to 100%. Let's say this was 26. You can see in the top left, it goes 101% of 100. It needs to be 100% for obvious reasons. So if I do 100, now I'm going to click save, and it basically creates this pie here. And then you can edit the pie name. So let's say I'm just going to name this one test. So we have it. You can do a description if you want, but basically now it's in with my other portfolios here. So my other pies that I've created. I've got a number of different ones in here, so this can get confusing, but that's pretty much how you break it down. And a lot of people were asking me, how do you break it down? When you look at my individual pie, if I go over here, you can see that in my individual pie, I have a number of different pies that I'm investing in. So it breaks down in basically what I have are different categories in terms of industries on the market. These are all the ones that I'm currently investing in right here. And people were like, hey, how do you categorize it like that? Because I can only get stocks into mine. Well, to do that, you basically just create all these different pies in this section. So right there, I did the fintech ones. I named it test. If I wanted to do consumer goods, I'd create a new pie. I'd click add, and then you start looking for consumer stocks. So let's say I did like Johnson & Johnson. Let's say I did Walmart. There's a number of different ones. Let's do Target, etc. So you can go on and on with this stuff. Click on done, and then make sure you allocate your funds as you want. So let's say that's just an example of what I'm going to do. Again, this isn't what I'm putting in my portfolio. These are just testing. So here's test 2. Or test 1, I typed the wrong button, but you get the gist of it. So essentially now, if you wanted to add both of those into a investment portfolio, if you come over to your investment portfolios, you go into your account. All right, and then when you're on this screen, you click manage pie, you click on edit pie, and when you're in edit pie, you hit that plus icon, and then on that plus icon, you go into my pies, and you can basically select all the different ones that you have. So you could click, fintech, all of these different ones, and then when you click done, it's going to appear right here. So basically, that is how you add these different sectors, these different industries, or however you want to format it into your portfolio. Let me talk about my individual portfolio a little bit, give you guys the breakdown of that. I'm going to go into my growth portfolio. What I focus on in this account is primarily growth stocks. You can see right now I'm down around 3%. Hey, but that's okay. This portfolio is for the extreme long term, 10, 20, 30 years. I hope I never have to sell these investments and they can just continue growing. But that's what I did to structure out this portfolio. So you can see all of this right here. And the greatest thing about this is you guys can check out every single one that I invest in by clicking on the link in the description of this video. What it's going to show you is all of my investments into these companies, and you can invest in the very same pie if you wanted. Now, I don't recommend just blindly copying me. I am not a financial advisor. I cannot tell you exactly what stocks to invest in. You're going to want to do your own research, but these are the ones that I invest in. You can check them all out in the description. And like I said, $30 if you're signing up for the first time. You're going to help fund your account. It's going to get me some money, help support the channel on that end as well. So I really would appreciate it. And then if you don't use my code, just use one of your friends, use somebody's. It's free money, so you might as well do it. So if you look at the EV and energy, so I'm going to break this down. Essentially, if you look at all these different categories, I got EV and energy, e-commerce and consumers, tech growth, and then so on and so forth. You can see that it's broken down. 33% of this portfolio is in EV and energy, 21% is in e-commerce and consumers, tech growth makes up 18%, big consumer and safe tech 9%, so on and so forth. So when you look at this holistically, if I were to invest $100, this is the way that I think about it. Of that $100, $33 would be going into EV and energy. $21 would be going into e-commerce, 18 would be going into tech growth, 9% into big consumer and safer technology. So, and it continues on, $7, $5 there. It makes sense, right? And then of that, so let's say I put in $100, 33%, $33 is going to EV and energy. Click into EV and energy. This is the breakdown for EV and energy. Of that money, of that $33, 50% goes into Tesla. So a little bit over $15 would be going into Tesla. 20% of that $33, 15% of that $33, and it just makes sense how it breaks down. What's really, really cool is it's so simple to balance these. Let's say I'm jumping in, I'm not feeling so good about Tesla anymore. I can go to manage pie, I can click edit pie here, and then I could either drill down the percentage of Tesla or completely remove it from this pie. That's why I love this application. It can be as hands-on or as hands-off if you like. one thing to remember is that when you are investing in these companies, when you're investing using M1 Finance, there's what's known as a buying window, where essentially you need to make your moves ahead of time. You can't necessarily pinpoint the exact price you want to buy in to stocks, the exact price you want to sell, because there's what's known as buying windows. And those are typically, if you do anything before 9:30 a.m., you're going to lock down your funds. You're going to be able to buy stuff at 9:30. The funds will go through at market open. You're going to be able to take advantage of what you're trying to buy. So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. And that's a lot of the breakdown of these portfolios. So again, you can create a number of different accounts, Roth IRA, retirement accounts, individual investment accounts, whatever you want to do in this, and it's all great things. Now you can go into the spend tab here, and this tab essentially is going to be talking about your debit card or your checking account that you can create through M1 Finance. I myself am not using it now. If I do use it in the future, I'll let you guys know. I'll put out another update video. You can also go into and then it's got a couple other tabs which just talks about it a little bit more, the benefits of doing this. You're going to get faster access to funds, maybe open up a new buying window. But for me, all the basic features and everything that you're going to be doing as a brand new beginner, it's super straightforward. You don't need to worry about this stuff. Now, transferring, this is something I highly recommend doing if you are getting into the market. I love dollar cost averaging. So what I do is I move money into here, do a recurring transfer that automatically invests. So basically, if you go into the transfer section, you can do a one-time transfer where, let's say you're like, hey, I got $50 extra, I want to transfer it in, start investing. You can do just that. You click one-time transfer, you select your bank account that's linked up to this, and you can do the amount you want. So let's say you wanted $50, you click continue, and then as you link your bank account, as it's up here, you would select it. You would put it in the exact portfolio that you want. So if you have a number of different ones, this is the only one I currently have on M1 Finance. So I'm going to click growth portfolio, $50. Just click transfer. It's that simple. It's going to pull it from your bank, and the next trading period at 9:30 in the morning, it will go through, unless you have access to the other trading window as well when you pay for that feature. Now, I highly would recommend to anybody beginning and to anybody investing, this is what's been known as one of the best methods. It's just investing over time, setting up a recurring investment. So that's exactly what I do. What I'm going to do for this portfolio, and something that I haven't announced quite yet, is I'm going to be investing $200 per week into my growth portfolio. So if I select my account, it's going to be this. I'm going to go ahead and do growth portfolio, and I'm going to be doing $200. The minimum to transfer recurring investments is $10. And so I would do $200. I would click continue. The frequency is how you set it up. I do weekly for this. And then day of the week you can select. I guess it doesn't really matter as much for me, but I have Acorns where I'm investing on Fridays. I was doing Mondays for Robinhood. I've started to slow that down. Let's just say Tuesdays for me for this. It's fine by me. And then I'd go ahead and click schedule. I am going to wait till some of my funds actually have settled in this bank account. I'm not quite there yet, but this is exactly what I'm going to do. And you guys will see these updates in the future. I'm going to be getting $200 every single week going into this account. And again, dollar cost averaging, this makes it so much easier. If you guys have a lump sum to invest when you're just starting off, let's say you got $5,000. This is the very first investment you're making. You got $5,000. What do you look at? What do you think is going to work out well for you? Well, me personally, what I do with that $5,000 when I was brand new to investing is dollar cost average, slowly invest it over time. Don't just throw it into the market and hope that it's going to do well. Plan out your investments. If I had $5,000, maybe I'd put $1,000 up front, invest $200, $300 every single, month or week or whatever you want to set up for a cadence, just so you get used to the market. If you put $5,000 in, let's say the market's doing absolutely terribly, it goes down to $4,000. Are you going to be inclined to panic sell? Well, I think most new investors would be inclined to panic sell in that case. And so I try and mitigate that by dollar cost averaging, knowing that I have more money to put in. And so theoretically, what happens is as the stock market goes down in price, you put more and more investments in. So that way, when it recovers, when it turns back around, you start making money much faster and your results are expedited. So it really is awesome. So that's basically what I use this section for. If you go back out, you can also borrow. I don't recommend for any brand new investors to start borrowing money until you're familiar with the stock market, how it works. Trading on margin's very hard. There's different types of loans you can get from here, but again, I don't know. I would look at different sections, probably different companies if I were to get like business loans, things like that. And then if you go into the research tab, you can do more research in here. You got news, stocks, funds, expert pies, your watch list. If you wanted to create a watch list, you can click into that too. Mine is empty right now, but you can add on to different funds here. And really, in a nutshell, that is M1 Finance. I think it is one of the absolute best investment platforms that you can use, no matter what level investor you are. You know, if you've got some extra funds sitting around and you're hesitant to start getting into the market, start off slow. Look at some of these expert pies. You know, maybe some of the other people that you follow also share their pies too, so you can look at them. And hey, if you like my individual pie, again, you can go, you can check it out, reallocate it, balance it however you want. If you don't agree with some of my thinking, I would say, you know, change it, add some stocks onto it, do whatever you want. Investing is all about doing your own research, learning time and time again, trial and error. In some cases, that's what I've experienced, which is unfortunate, but hey, hopefully if you follow people, you follow along with investment portfolios, someone like me, you're going to learn from my mistakes. You're not going to make them yourself, and you're going to be able to grow your funds much quicker. So again, if you guys did take anything away from this video, I would highly appreciate it if you click that like button. It promotes this video, gets it out onto other homepages. It gets my channel out there, more recognition, and it helps grow. So I really would appreciate that. Thank you so much for checking out this video, guys, and have a great day. Oh, guys, quickly, I gotta show you this magic trick. Ready? Ugh, pretty cool.